From a forgotten final draft pick to the centerpiece of a record-breaking NFL contract, Brock Purdy's story is one of the wildest turnarounds in recent sports history. Now, as the San Francisco 49ers lock him up with a staggering 5-year, $265 million deal, a swirling debate has gripped analysts and fans alike. Why weren't the Pittsburgh Steelers, franchise legends of grit, tradition, and championships, one of the teams fighting for Purdy before this extension? With a rush of shocked commentary flooding sports media, it's time to pull back the curtain on what really happened. Why some say the Steelers are afraid to pay quarterbacks, and whether Pittsburgh is running the risk of falling behind in the NFL's relentless quarterback arms race. Let's start with context. Brock Purdy, famously the last pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, Mr. Irrelevant, number 262 overall, wasn't supposed to threaten for an NFL starting job, let alone playoff glory. But Purdy, stepping into the San Francisco 49ers high-pressure system, shocked the football world by not only holding his own, but excelling. Guiding his team deep into the postseason, he shrugged off system quarterback jabs and earned the respect of both teammates and coaches. It's no wonder, then, that San Francisco was determined to avoid public drama or a bidding war and quickly signed Purdy to a monumental extension. That contract made Purdy not just a franchise face, but one of the game's highest-paid stars practically overnight. This move, or more accurately, the lack of interest from other teams, shocked national analysts. On ESPN's Unsportsmanlike, Michelle Smallman voiced what many were thinking. "I'm surprised that no other teams picked up the phone to call the 49ers on Brock Purdy, especially knowing he was asking for a number so high." Speculation was rampant, including an eyebrow-raising figure of $65 million per year, numbers that, while possibly exaggerated, underscore just how valuable high-performing quarterbacks are in today's league. The hosts pressed deeper. Why? Weren't the Steelers making calls to lure a rising star? Evan Cohen turned the spotlight directly on Pittsburgh. "They just don't want to pay quarterbacks. They don't believe quarterback is the position you should pay. That's what you learn." To him, Pittsburgh's front office has been overly cautious, not just with Purdy, but with every big-name passer in recent years. Fact-checking the criticism. Were the Steelers ever really in the game? Let's break down the argument and separate speculation from substance. First, about that $65 million figure. For all the shock value, there's no credible report that Purdy or his camp truly sought to break league records to that degree. Sure, any young QB with a postseason resume is going to command massive numbers, but the $60 to $65 million range was more radio exaggeration than contract reality. Second, the idea of the Steelers trading for Purdy was, in truth, never on the table. San Francisco's urgency to sign their quarterback and avoid outside distractions meant the market never really opened. There is no evidence Pittsburgh, or any team, had realistic access. But the analysts' frustration wasn't just about Purdy. As Cohen detailed, Pittsburgh didn't seemingly go for Matthew Stafford when there was a moment to do that. They didn't go for Geno Smith. They weren't in on Sam Darnold when there was a moment to do that. And they weren't in on Purdy. Is this really proof that the Steelers just refused to invest at quarterback, or is it a calculated long-term plan? Behind the scenes, the story is more nuanced. With Stafford, Pittsburgh was unwilling to give up premium draft capital, and it became a moot point when the Rams convinced him to re-sign for less. Geno Smith, while a renaissance story, was not seen as the right fit for a team in transition, more of a patch than a plan. As for Darnold, reports indicate Pittsburgh did show interest, but ultimately backed away, unsure he represented true upside. The unspoken truth: Pittsburgh values draft picks, homegrown talent, and franchise stability. They're not utterly averse to spending on quarterbacks, but they are careful to avoid panic moves that mortgage the future for shaky short-term gains. Most cuttingly, if Pittsburgh does have one clear miss with Purdy, it isn't their reluctance to trade. It's the front office move back in the 2022 draft. The Steelers did take a quarterback that year, Kenny Pickett, in the first round, and then doubled down with Chris Oladokun from South Dakota State at number 241 overall. Purdy went 21 picks later. This is the moment where fortune could have favored the bold. Had the Steelers seen Purdy's unrealized talent and pounced, perhaps they wouldn't be at the center of this quarterback storm now. If all of this sounds like talk radio catnip, that's because it is. Evan Cohen has become known for wild, attention-grabbing takes. Claiming, for instance, that Kirk Cousins will join the Steelers days after a draft, or that Pittsburgh should trade for Will Levis or even part ways with defensive superstar TJ. What don't Steelers fans know the game? The real plan is to wait patiently, scanning the league, holding on to core pieces, and trusting that the right franchise quarterback, whether by development or opportunity, will emerge. So here's the big question for Steelers Nation and beyond. Are the Steelers playing the long game, wisely waiting for their true franchise, the quarterback, or have they let opportunity after opportunity slip by in the name of caution? Brock Purdy's journey from unknown to all-pro payday is the kind of story that keeps analysts up at night and fans debating for seasons. Did Pittsburgh miss out by not even knocking at the 49ers' door? Only time and the next few NFL seasons will tell. Now it's your turn. If you found this analysis thought-provoking, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Are the Steelers too careful when it comes to quarterbacks? Or are they positioning themselves for the perfect moment? I want to hear your takes, your theories, and your solutions. Thanks for joining me, Fabiano, for another exclusive deep dive into the NFL's fiercest conversations. Stay with us for more stories that go beyond the headlines, and always invite you, the fan, to be part of the debate.